Hi, I'm Christina. Welcome to this episode of Women's Health, Wealth, and Happiness Interviews to Inspire. I'm excited to introduce you to our next guest, a passionate master storyteller with 30 years of experience as an award-winning memoirist and certified ghostwriter. She has dedicated her career to amplifying women's voices that deserve recognition, believing that sharing our stories foster personal growth and creates collective change. She helps uncover the gold in each story, guiding authors to find their unique themes and the best path to publication. Her health depends on being present to what is happening both around and within her. By staying conscious and undistracted by thoughts and feelings, she's able to make the best decisions and respond effectively to the needs of any situation. Wealth means feeling fulfilled in relationships, physical health, and creative and intellectual expression. She believes happiness often hinges on getting what we want and avoiding what we don't. But true joy comes from being fully, authentically ourselves, allowing us to disappear into bliss. Please join me in welcoming our next guest, memoirist and founder of Golden Ghostwriting, Gail.
Interesting. When I was thinking of the words that I wanted to share, I will share that underneath all those words is really my yearning to connect with my spiritual self, because I feel that we'll get health, wealth, and happiness beyond measure when we really connect in with our soul, or whatever word you want to use, but that which is greater than ourselves. So it's my life passion, and I spend every waking minute working on my spirituality when I can remember.
Gail, your health word is attention. Tell me more about how you came up with that word.
Attention to me is being present, and being present to what's going on around me, and being present to what's going on in me, inside of me. Lately, I've been really focusing on paying attention to my thoughts and feelings, meaning being aware of them. If I'm aware of my thoughts and feelings, then they don't have to control me. And it's a lifetime practice. A lot of times we get so sucked in to our thoughts and feelings, and they determine our lives. That doesn't work for me. I mean, I don't think it works for anybody. That's really the impetus for my spiritual path.
What kind of tips and tricks do you have to stay present?
I try and pay attention to the energy going on inside me. Many years ago, I got involved with yoga, and I found that why I loved it so much. And after I finished a yoga session, I felt very calm and peaceful. And I learned that it's really the energy in my body flowing that makes me feel calm and peaceful. As the years have gone on, and I don't even practice yoga on a regular basis anymore, but I am a yogini at heart. But what I've learned is that if I pay attention to the energy inside of me, that helps me to regulate, and it helps me to not be dominated by it. And it's a lifetime journey. Like, for example, fear. I have so much fear inside of me. We all do. I don't think I'm really different than anybody else, but I've learned through paying attention to my energy that the fear feels a certain way. And in the past, I used to be afraid of that feeling. I pushed it away. You can use the word like to suppress or resist, whatever word you want to use. But I've learned that if I just, even when it's coming up and it feels really uncomfortable, I've learned that I can let it just pass through me, and it leaves, it goes out into the universe where it belongs. I mean, I wouldn't quite call it a tip. I'd call it like my lifetime practice, but that helps me a lot personally, the energy aspect of it. And I'm moving into that more now lately as I become more grounded.
It's so interesting too, because I know you're a ballerina. I'm a ballroom dancer, and you're talking about that heart mind energy connection that is just so important, that there is a space of quiet in that when
In
you're
there.
and yes, and you know yourself from head to toe when you're a dancer in that moment. But yes, please tell me more.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I'm not a dancer anymore in terms of actually dancing and moving my body, but I really am a dancer at heart. I was never good enough to do it professionally, so I've just channeled my creative forces toward writing. That's a way that I could earn a living. But I'll tell you something. It's like if I'm in the audience and I'm watching a dancer on stage, a ballet, say I'm going to a ballet or something, and I watch a dancer move. Honest to God, it's like I feel it in my body. And I don't know for sure, but what it must feel like to make that expression, like how she moves and the grace. And it's like I feel it in my body. It's energy. It's all energy. That's what I'm learning more and more.
And it's so interesting because one of the things I think about from dance is it's in that moment. You can't capture it. You can take a picture of it, you can video it, but it's in that moment that you're feeling that energy.
Yeah. And that's that connection to the divine or spirit. The word doesn't matter. Words, everybody picks different words, but it's like in that moment, if you feel it, you know what I mean? And then your body expresses it, but it can't be not in the moment because then then that attention that we were saying before, then it's someplace else. It's funny. I play the piano also. I don't play that anymore either. But in terms of what you were just saying, it's like I would sit down and I would play something. And if I wasn't thinking, it would just go. And the minute I started thinking, oh, what do I, and I just stop, because it's not in the moment. I'm somewhere else. My attention is in my worry and not in being connected to spirit, where the, like that impetus comes, the creative spark. It comes through us.
With you being a writer, you have the creativity and the thoughts and the information gathering that you're doing and creating and finding that attention when you're trying to focus on a next chapter, a next piece. How do you balance all of that creativity into that paragraph, that chapter? How do you do it?
I feel like you were sitting in my office or something because I'm writing a memoir for a woman right now, and chapter 9 is one of the most challenging chapters that I've ever written in my career. There's so much information and so many incidents and things that happen, and she's told me so many things. And so I had to sit down and figure out, like, okay, how am I going to do this? And so the answer is that I understand that there's this thread, in other words, or something that's driving the story forward. And it's like it keeps going, but it's like I know that I'm after a certain thrust or a narrative arc, as they call it, where the story is going. And as long as I am attuned to the bigger picture and what I'm after, then it just like it takes care of itself. Then it's like when I'm not paying attention to my thoughts in terms of, oh no, what am I going to do now? I always know what to do when I'm not thinking about it or worrying about it. The focus is there, and then it just comes.
It's the creative process.
Yeah, and there's a lot of aspects to storytelling. Structure is so important. The words are important, and when you're a ghostwriter, you need to use the words of your author. So it's using her words, but the structure that holds everything together, and then you know where you're going. And there's so much organization involved in it. Like that's the thing too, when you're writing a book. Yes, you have to be creative and you have to allow that, that magic or that spark to come through, but you have to be extremely organized to know, just know what you're doing and to keep things moving forward. It's a good combination of skill.
But that's a sign of a successful creative when you can be organized within the chaotic creative things that are going on up there.
It's exactly right. It's so true because it's so funny. I laugh and I say, there's a method to my madness. And that's the thing that's really true. Like I'll be working with an author or whatever it is that I'm doing, and I'm taking notes down. I have my pen and I have my pad and the person's writing and my notes. It looks like little scribbles. This is here, that's there, this there, that there. The only problem is sometimes I don't understand my own handwriting, and then I get mad. But the point is that it's all there, and it on this page. It looks like a total mess, but yet I know there's a method in the madness, if you will.
And with your spirituality piece that you're talking, you're actually starting to do some things where you're opening up that communication with other people. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, listening.
Mm.
Listening is everything. Allowing that person to feel safe and heard. And in the listening, that's how I understand what the story is. I just get that sense of, oh, that's the story. That's the story. This is how it has to move forward. And, I have to, sometimes you have to really dig deep, and it could be challenging. So the listening and compassion also is so vital. I think they're one and the same, really, because when you're really listening, the compassion just wells up. You understand.
Incredible. I love listening to your creative process. It's so much fun. And are there any little things that you do when you find yourself getting distracted to zero back in?
Take a break, definitely take a break. And then again, center in. To me, it's always coming back to the energy and seeing what's getting stuck. You know what I mean? What's happening here? What am I afraid of? Because it's always fear, coming up. I relax because I really learned from a spiritual teacher that I've been working with for a long time, but he's perfect for me. Everybody finds what works for them. And even when I was saying before about the fear that, it's not going to kill you when it comes up, I've learned that actual relaxation when I'm feeling distracted or stressed, I've learned that if that's happening inside, then something's blocked or something inside is getting triggered, that it always comes down to fear. And so relaxing, it gives that fear or whatever it is room for expression so that it can leave. And then I find myself again, that centered part. So that happens occasionally, that I need to just come back to that flow of the energy, allow whatever is getting in the way, or whatever's coming up, to just let it be and don't fight it. Take a break if you need to. Honor it, respect it.
Stay tuned to part 2 and learn about the wealth word for this interview. Subscribe and click the link below to find out about bonus tracks and how to join our community.